Ladies and gentlemen, I am Burt Gummer. Taking over the KillJoy Jack YouTube page today. We are pitting the original Tremors from 1990 against Tremors Shrieker Island that came out this past Tuesday. And if you don't subscribe right now, you are an ass clown that is going to be a skid mark on our collective underwear. Alright, but seriously, let's get into this. Get over here! Now before we get into the good, the bad, and the ugly, let's talk a little bit about these movies. Tremors is a 1990 American horror comedy directed by Ron Underwood. Notably, the film stars Kevin Bacon, Fred Ward, Michael Gross, and Reba McEntire. The concept of Tremors was originally conceived in the early 1980s when writers S.S. Wilson and Brent Maddock were working for the United States Navy as filmmakers in charge of creating educational safety videos. While getting footage, the two climbed a large desert boulder and asked the question, what if there was something out here that wouldn't let us off this rock? This inspired the two to start brainstorming ideas for a monster movie, which was eventually dubbed Land Sharks. Cause I mean, if you think about it, this is just Jaws but in the desert. And also look at the cover. But hey, standing on the shoulders of giants is not always a bad thing. Tremors is living proof of that. Tremors Shrieker Island, also known as Tremors 7, and formerly Tremors Island Fury, is a 2020 American direct-to-video monster film directed by Don Michael Paul and co-written with Brian Brightly. It is the 7th film in the Tremors franchise and stars Michael Gross and Jon Heder. This series is celebrating its 30-year anniversary this year, which is insane. So let's see if the original Tremors that came out 30 years ago holds up with its new incarnation, Tremors Shrieker Island. So as always, let's start off with the good. Starting with Tremors from 1990, I would say the film has a great cast. The two standouts to me are Kevin Bacon and Michael Gross, of course. I mean, I'm dressed up as him, so it'd be kind of weird if I didn't mention him. Kevin Bacon was so good in this first movie, and he was even supposed to star in a Tremors TV series that unfortunately got canceled for whatever reason. It is a very promising trailer online that you can still check out. It features Beck's Loser, which is one of my favorite songs. And Michael Gross, who has appeared in just about all of the Tremors films, I think, but his performances just get better as the sequels go on, in my opinion. He knows this character in and out, and even from the beginning, like, it's still really hilarious. This film has a very fun, Spielberg-esque tone. Like I said, Jaws but in the desert. That's not a bad thing though. I mean, as they say, shoot for the moon, and even if you miss, you're gonna land amongst the stars. I think I just paraphrased that horribly, but that's okay. The message got across, and that's what matters. The practical effects are insane for this movie. For a monster movie in the early 1990s, you wouldn't think it would have very good effects. Let's just look at the 1990s in general for monster movies. The only other two that really come to mind are Anaconda and Lake Placid, and well, we know how the effects in those movies looked. There's something. They're definitely something. But what of course sets this film aside from those two crappy digital looking monsters is the practical effects that they use throughout this movie. Sure, it's more expensive, but it always ends up being a better product. 99.9% of the time. With very few exceptions. Very few. Moving on to Tremors Shrieker Island, Jon Heder and Michael Gross are both hilarious in this film. Tremors 7 has an overall very goofy feel to it, which at times isn't a bad thing. Jon Heder and Michael Gross are obviously huge standout characters here. The rest of them, I can barely remember their names. The digital effects don't look too bad, I guess. I mean, they're not terrible. I have definitely seen a lot worse. It's not bad. It's not bad. I can't believe I'm saying that. It hurts my soul a little bit to say the digital effects actually kind of look good. That hurts a little bit, but yeah, they're not bad. Now, although the digital effects are not bad in Tremors 7, we do have to move on to the bad for both of these movies. Bad. Starting with the original Tremors, some of the dialogue is hard to listen to. Legs that go all the way up. Kevin, no one wants to hear that. I'm sorry. And moving on to Tremors Shrieker Island, this script seems like it was written in a half an hour. The dialogue is so unbelievably bad that Jon Heder is literally making fun of it this entire movie. He tries so hard, but he's just, you know, having a good time. He's like, this is not a great movie, but hey, I'm in a movie, so screw it. Throughout that whole movie, I was really getting that vibe from him. When it actually tries to convey something about the story, it just completely loses me. If Burt Gummer or Napoleon Dynamite aren't saying something funny, I completely completely tone out and lose interest in this film. There are plot holes all over the place in this film. Why does Richard Brake's billionaire character have a crappy looking campsite? And didn't they say like 5 minutes before they blew up that bunker that if they moved the dynamite just a little too much, it was just gonna blow up in their hands? And then you see him going like this, like with grabbing all of it and just like, let's just push it together like that. Like that would have blown up, right? I don't know dynamite that well. I watched the first season of Lost. That's where my dynamite knowledge comes from. And the baddest of the bad things out of this entire list of everything is the way they killed off Burt Gummer. In arguably the worst movie of this entire franchise, you kill off the best character? I get that they were going for like a definitive ending here with this film, but it's like this goofy like 90 minutes, oh we're having fun, and then the last 5 minutes are like just dour and depressing. Total tonal shift in this movie for no reason whatsoever. I would have been like, okay, whatever if like Burt Gummer and this thing had like a one-on-one battle together, but no, it was literally the same way that the original Tremors ended, but Burt Gummer just didn't make it. I don't know, man. I don't know, that was totally whack. There was so much wrong with that ending. Oh god, I hated it. I hated it so much. The rest of the movie was, you know, it wasn't great, but it was enjoyable. But that ending though, oh, that was trash. So am I handing out the Ugly Award? Yeah, Tremors Shrieker Island. It's ugly! You don't just kill off my man Mr. Gummer, bro. Burt Gummer is like a John Wick. You don't just kill him off like that. Come on! Absolutely whack, it's not canon. So the winner is the original Tremors from 1990. Let's go. Super exciting stuff here. It's Jaws, but on the land, a fantastic Spielbergian film that I've always been a big fan of. Probably the best monster movie that came out of the 1990s. Now this is the only series where I feel like many of its sequels actually topped the original. 5 and 6 with Jamie Kennedy are just so good and so enjoyable. And I think it's because of the cast and the fact that it really embraced its absurdity. That's what makes those two films just better than the original in my opinion. I'm probably in the minority there, but those are so fun and enjoyable to me. 2, 3, and 4 get a little absurd, of course, because I mean 4 takes place in like the Wild West, which is completely insane, but 5 and 6 are just like so good. It would be a sin to not mention the chemistry between Jamie Kennedy and Michael Gross. Absolutely fantastic in both of those, and they're kind of like one big movie because the 5th film ends right where the 6th one begins. You kind of just gotta watch them if you've never seen them. Definitely check those out though. Those are my 2 favorites from the series. So what do you think about these results? Are you kind of like me and wish that you had more one-liners from Burt Gummer? Or were you happy with this ending to the series? Leave me something about it in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching my sequel versus the original of Tremors. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more horror content. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at KillJoyJake1 and on Instagram at KillJoy_Jake and on Twitch at KJJLive. And as always, the only good Graboid is a dead one. Is that what he says in the film? I don't know. You know what? Just don't forget to kill it out there, y'all.